Hi everyone, welcome to Certax Spring Seminar 2024, and you've got Love, we're going to add some value. You've got Ishtiaq, which is one of the directors of Certax, and he's going to give us some insight on what we've been covering today. Ishtiaq, we've been covering quite a lot of value today. What's the key things that you want to cover in this thing?
I would like to cover the first topic delivered by John. John brought us the
That's
highlights.
the technical update, isn't it?
The technical update, which he brought to us, all the main points, what's gonna change the way we plan our taxes for our clients.
Just unpack that great value. What Ishtiaq's trying to mention is that there's so many changes in the budget, and he was relaying how that affects entrepreneurs and how an accountant, tax advisor, stroke business advisor can add value by breaking that up and planning the future strategies. Because we know good old Rishi, I know you're watching some of my stuff, right? We have a lot of pain coming because of the changes, and obviously Jeremy, who mentioned it in the budget. I think that was going to help us add that value, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And the second topic we covered is how the tax laws are changing to tax the sole trader partnership and the limited companies. And it's really important at this time, you need to talk to your accountant to see if you have the right structure. And once you have the right structure, what are the outside the box advantages you can take, like being a limited company, you're more secure, you got access to better tax planning, you can keep money in the company and then use that to add your pension pot. So there are lots of things.
There's so many, and it's about getting that personalised planning from a company and a personal tax perspective, which obviously you get a Certax accountant that we're adding a lot of value on. I think the next bit was, what did you get out of the IP, which is the insolvency practitioner we had on there? They were giving some value as well. What was the number one takeaway that you got from that?
So for me was, at the moment, the hottest topic is a lot of clients are struggling to pay the bounce back loan. So they're looking into liquidating the company with the bounce back loan. I think it's not as easy as simple that like it has been happening in the past. There is more strict rules with insolvency practitioner they have to bear in mind. So before even you think about doing that liquidation, have a conversation with your accountant. And look at your bank account, where you spend that money and how you spend that money before you even think about putting it into liquidation. And the liquidation might not be the last solution.
I think the big takeaway I got from that is having that conversation before you appoint the liquidator, insolvency practitioner, making sure you've got an understanding of what the implications are of doing the liquidation, especially if you're doing a voluntary one or if there's other solutions, because if you've got some issues, that's the time to address it before you go through the process and have a nasty shock at the end.
Exactly.
I think that's a quite huge one, and it will lead us nicely on to our next guest, who will be talking about payments, and we've got some value there, and we've still got a bit of value. It's been a huge event, isn't it?
Absolutely. It's always very worth coming, spending all this time with all the Certax accounting, sharing their views, looking at their cases, and just learning from each other.
You've got to love it. That's the opening, and we're going to have more interviews. We're going to add more value from different perspectives, and we're going to even get some accountant tax advice, giving you some free business advice and tax advice. Can you believe it? You've got to love it. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
That's cool. Hi everyone, we've got Kayleigh from Teleroo. Is that right?
That's right.
Perfect. And she's going to talk about payments, which is one of the bugbears we have entrepreneurs. Kayleigh, thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
Giving us your amazing insight. I'm just going to roll off the bat straight away.
Absolutely.
One of the biggest issues is payments, right? And you've developed a certain solution which is quite unique and bespoke. Is that fair to say?
Think so.
I love it. And how you feel you're adding value to the entrepreneur journey through the accountant? What's the number one thing you think is going to make a big difference through using Teleroo payment solutions?
I think it's about de-risking payments for business owners. Fraud is a huge thing. Banking services are getting harder and harder to access, and actually business owners are now looking to their accountants, to their advisors to support them in that. But typically that process has been very lengthy, very risky, and we are removing all of that risk, a lot of the time taken to do it, and making it possible for accountants to support business owners in that way.
And can they do, one of the things I try to do when we're doing these sort of more advances is mitigate the risk where the approval is done by the end client. So there's like a dual process. So we set up the payments and they do that to diminish risk, and also a lot of the exposure, because if there's any issues, then it segregates the duties. Does Teleroo allow us to do that?
Absolutely. Segregation of duties is huge, and the approval process as well. So actually within our system you can have various roles for both the accountant side and the client side, and that means that you can have different people creating, you can have different people reviewing, and then still have two different people on the client end approving those payments as well.
And how does it, the other thing is, how does it, I know you mentioned and gave us a little explanation, how does it work with banks and the solutions, and how does the money move from the bank account in a summary to the Teleroo easy cash access part before it goes to the end supplier or client?
So for every client we open what's known as an e-money account that has its own account number, its own sort code, its own bank feed into their accounting software, and then in terms of funds moving across, the client has options. They can have standing orders, they can authorise individual payments to come across, or they can use the open banking functionality that we've built in the platform to push those payments directly to us as well.
Wow, huge value. The world is changing, and this is what I was saying about technology and embracing technology. I go on about it all the time. We will tag Kayleigh into this post across also our social media, and everyone knows I love the social media family, and this is where we're going to add value to it, and this is a big difference maker. Thank you so much, Kayleigh. Thank you so much for that. Hi everyone, we've got one of the accountants, tax advisors of Certax, Melissa. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having
Melissa,
me.
can you just tell the audience where you're based in the country?
So I am in West London, Certax West London.
Where is that, Gillian?
Heathrow and Uxbridge,
Wow.
in between. Yes.
Quite a lot of entrepreneurs I meet from there. And what's the area that you do a lot in the industry? Which is your preference?
So we've got retail, we've got quite a few retail, manufacturing, we have import and export businesses with fruits and vegetables.
So a lot of people in retail front end, and that's where you do a lot of aspects. What's the biggest tip for you from help growing their business? Because these days we're not just accountants, we are business advisors as well, and tax advisors beyond tax advice. What is the biggest tip that you've had to help grow their business and you help your entrepreneurs do?
The main thing we look at is profitability. Yeah, how much you're doing in profits. It starts with the turnover, sales, of course, and looking at all the expenses. So that's the biggest tip we look at: profits, profit making.
You help the clients through your advice, understanding numbers to cut it up and then add profitability, and then they know where they're making profit and where they're not making profit. Love it. What's the other area I would love to ask is, because we are accountants and tax advisors as well, the day job. What's the number one tax tip for those entrepreneurs that you found really powerful?
One tip is to focus on where they're making the money to begin with, like the turnover, the sales pitch and everything, and in terms of expenses, which one are important and which one they can reduce as well. So better.
So from a tax planning perspective, do you do like extractions, how they extract money out of the companies if they've got a limited company?
Yes, indeed.
And I guess a lot of people would probably follow the salary dividends model.
Salary
and you can't beat that, because Andrew was oblivious and he just walked through the camera. And I love social media because we caught that. That's our blooper. Love it. Anyway, it's all good.
So is directors' salary, how much they want to take. We recommend the minimum and just max on dividends.
And then manage it because you know what the numbers. And I guess you do some forecast as well, right?
Sure.
Love it.
Thank
if
you
you want to contact, I know Mel will be on the post as well. And yeah, if you're in that area and you want value, and especially in retail, she's the person to go to. Thank you so much, Mel.
Cheers.
Hi everyone, we've got another account tax advisor. I'm on a roll right now. I'm trying to get value for you on the LinkedIn and social media family. We've got Raul. Thank you, Raul. We've got Mario. And they are from Certax. Which area are you based at?
Benfleet and Southend. So we got footprints in Essex.
Right, love it. You know, you heard about Essex and they add in value. Got people all over the country. I want to ask you one thing. Which area do you guys like doing a lot? Because every accountant has a bit of a niche, a bit of a specialism, or an area they like doing a lot. Which one is yours?
Yeah, so predominantly we would like to work for clients who are corporate, who are looking for the virtual finance officers, and people with properties as well. So property and corporate.
Wow, so that's where you feel you add a lot of value and it's something that you guys got interest. Fantastic. What's the number one tip that you help for them to scale their businesses? If there's property, how do they grow property portfolios? What do you guys do to help them grow it?
Well, first of all, we look at their current situation and what they have in place, and then look at the possibilities of what tax savings, tax efficiencies.
We'll get on to tax savings.
Group structure efficiencies, everything else set up in place. And when you mentioned the finance office side of the things, because we have an industry background experience, we have got a lot of, we would like to take on, and you get on with your business, and we can run the accounting and finance side for you.
Yeah.
So you're saving them time, efficiency,
Yes.
getting the knowledge of the industry, and then helping them scale.
Absolutely.
Fantastic.
So the objective is to take your finance department away with a
Perfect.
fraction of a cost, and we run your business, and we are your extension finance team, and we work with you together.
And it's a huge area of growth as well, and it's a lot of area entrepreneurs always want to park that off, and these are the people. Yes, there's a premium, but you've got to get good people. You were getting onto the tax tip. What's your number one tax tip? You can have one each for the entrepreneurs.
Well, my number one tax tip is more take on from you as well. For our limited companies directors with a certain amount of income, the tapered relief is increased to 10,000. The SAS pension savings, all those ideas where you can save tax by putting in more into pension. So this is more. It's not limited to just property owners. It's for limited companies owners. But the tax savings that can achieve by putting more money into pension, that's not highlighted as much. So I would say definitely that.
And I was speaking to Ray earlier, and he was telling me that he's got some different ideas as well, how to extract money out of the companies as well, and working with entrepreneurs and making sure that plan is customized. And I think that's the key, and I think that's some of the output for today's seminar as well.
Absolutely.
Is that fair to say?
Yeah, absolutely. I think some people, they jump to structuring the company. Sometimes setting up a company is not the right answer as well. You can be a sole trader and have more tax benefits as well. So I think when somebody is thinking about setting up a company or starting a business, make sure the structure is correct so that your tax planning can go a long way.
I think the difference probably, if we're looking at property, and a lot of discussion is depending on what the long-term objectives are, because when it's in your own name, inheritance tax is an issue. It becomes a big issue. That's why limited companies are structured properly, like a family investment company, which you guys obviously help people with, can make a big difference. So it's knowing the output, not just the initial structuring and the acquisition of the assets, not just the journey, but the exit as well. That's a lot for someone to take, and it's that planning working with you guys do.
So what I say to the clients who've got 14, 15, 16 properties, they've got it on jointly owned names, they've not got the procedures in place, they've not even thought about what they're going to do in terms of inheritance tax planning, let alone having it all in a limited company. But all of that is quite detailed, structured, time and effort, but the objective needs to be cleared right at the onset. What do you want to achieve from this? Yes, you're going on this path of having a portfolio of properties, but what's the objective?
What's the long-term goal?
Yes. So to have those conversations, you become like an extended family, because you become so close to them and talking to them about their finances. Then you give them the best advice, which is possibly going to save them tax, and God forbid something happens, the legacy will go on.
Great answer, and it is all about working with the client and bespoke to them. If you're in that area, these are the people to contact. Right in Essex. Thank you so much, Mariah.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Hi everyone, as I've mentioned, they're coming out of the woodwork right now. The accountants and tax advisors, business advisors, they want to give value. And we've got Mike from Sunderland, all the way from up there in the middle of the country here in Chesterfield. Thank you, Mike. Good to see you. Love it. Mike, as I mentioned, you're from that area. Want to just ask a few questions.
Of course.
What's the area that you love helping entrepreneurs on? I know every accountant tries to help everybody, but there's an area that everyone has a favoritism where they do, or their little niche. Which one is yours?
In our case, I really enjoy working with people that are trying to grow businesses.
Right.
Whether that's because they've got the big picture and the big ambition, or whether it's about developing the business so that it can be put up for sale,
right?
Or for retirement.
Wow. Okay, so see, so many different ways. So you're looking to help them to exit and that demographic, get their business ready, probably through, and we'll get onto some ways of doing that. What's the one way that you help out, or you found growing their business? Because that's one of the bugbears I have clients. My accountant, my business advisor, tax advisor is not helping grow my business. How do you?
It's very much about regular interaction and having up-to-date information. I think it's very important that people have management accounts, to have good quality forecasting, and somebody that understands what the numbers are saying and how it's going to help them going forwards, and can illustrate how certain small improvements often can make a big difference to the bottom line.
Wow.
To the value of the business.
I totally agree, because it affects the value, and also the predictions, the forecast, especially on exit. If you're doing EBITDA,
Absolutely.
Bit technical here, sorry, earnings before interest, tax and depreciation, right?
But a very common measure
Amortization.
in these kind of situations.
And that's how you value them.
Yeah.
I guess, what's one of your biggest exit tax tips? Because there's so many ways to exit, right? What's the one that you favour and you've helped clients do?
I think it can work in a number of different ways, and I think the key is to do it as far ahead as possible, so that I can explore all the options. Again, it depends upon what the aim is for the business. To make sure that entrepreneurs' relief can be claimed in full, for instance.
That's one, yeah.
And another aside, we're working with a client in terms of developing staff option schemes, an EMI scheme, which allows the key people in that business potentially to share in those benefits upon exit. And again, a scheme set up correctly makes all of the difference and can save an awful lot of tax at the end of the day.
The EMI scheme, remember, I think it said, was it Enterprise Management Incentives?
That's correct.
I think I remember it right.
Yeah.
They're so valuable, but people don't know, and there's certain restrictions. Unfortunately, accountant tax advisors, we can't do it, unfortunately, or legal businesses, but other businesses can do.
They do.
And that's some great tips. So just to summarise, you're talking about entrepreneurs' relief, which is better known business asset disposal now, well, better known entrepreneurs, but now the formal name, tongue twister, business asset disposal relief. That's when you extract money out to your own name and you pay 10% capital gains tax, not 20%, huge, up to $1 million each. So make sure you get the planning and speak to people like Mike will help you. And the second one, which you mentioned, is employee incentives, which is massive, because this is how you incentivize to keep loyalty, and that's the value of the business depending on the asset, which is the people, right?
Exactly, and it keeps those key people in the business because they've got skin in the game at the end of the day.
It's huge. And I guess another one, and we're finishing this, is employee ownership trusts, right? They're a similar thing as well, and they've got huge value as well. Not used as much as they can be, because you can pay 0%, yes, 0% capital gains tax. Think about it. If you're in the area of Sunderland and all those areas, Mike is your man. Thank you, Mike. Really
Thanks.
appreciate it. Cheers. Perfect. Hi, everyone. We've got Ash, another accountant, tax advisor, business advisor. As I said, we are on a roll. Ash, thank you for joining us.
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you for the compliments. Really encouraging.
Yeah, and do you know what? We love giving value, right, Ash? Yeah. So can you just tell everyone which practice, because you're also a director of Certax on the board, but also you run your own practice. Which area is it that you run?
We are in southeast, extreme corner in the end, looking off, English Channel, right at the sea.
East Kent, and which is the focus? Which area is it actually town-wise?
There is called Broadstairs, Margate, Ramsgate, Thanet District, and Canterbury.
Wow, a lot of areas, and they seem like they're going to be quite affluent areas, because he's dressed quite apart as always, right? I just wanted to ask you, right, you've had an amazing journey, a bit of a journey. What value do you feel your business has helped entrepreneurs, and which type of entrepreneurs do you feel you focus on the best? Two questions rolled up in one.
I think we never try to make a specific segment. We targeted our services to everyone, like right from the doctor surgeries to plumbers, right from the churches to adult industry. We provide our service. We provide tax advice. We do our job for everyone, whosoever is in the door. We provide the service.
And also, you've been being an accountancy tax advisory industry for decades now. Yeah. So the transition, because now it's becoming more focused on niche, but the people that established themselves before, because of the lack of accountants at those times, they've established differently. So going forward, strategies are changing, and that's probably why I was talking about the niche, because you've already established yourself, you've got a whole large clientele, but that takes time, doesn't it?
One thing I would like to point out, Z, when we started, it was difficult to start.
Yeah.
Till today, it is difficult.
Just tell the audience, when did you start the practice?
When we started our practice in 2009.
Wow.
We thought it is difficult. It's difficult. We thought it's difficult. And if you want to start practice today, it's still difficult. But the thing is, if you have passion, if you know what you want to do, and if you consider this profession as a noble profession, which is the case actually. It is a noble profession. I mean, what else you need? A person comes to you with the pain, and you take their pain away, and you are paid.
Yes.
I mean, I have feel the most satisfactory thing I have feel in this profession is people would come with their tension, their pains, their anxiety. They sit across the table with you and you say, we can take your pain away.
Wow.
And you haven't done any murder, you haven't killed anyone, don't worry about it. We sort the mess. And we love your mess because that's my job.
Do you know, I'm going to unpack because it's giving huge value. I think one of the biggest things is take that emotional aspects. People don't realize we're not robots. People are not robots entrepreneurs. They are people, and that emotional contact and making sure they feel relaxed. That is one of the number one aspects an accountant tax advisor has to do, right, is to make sure they cover them so they don't feel worried, they don't feel the stress from HMRC or new areas, because you made sure they're doing things correctly and they're covered. That's got to be the core nuts and bolts of being an accountant tax advisor.
The simple question I ask my client is, if you have to go from here to a journey of 100 miles, and if I say you do not have to obey the traffic rules, would you go there earlier? They would say no. And would you be stress-free? They would say, oh, that's more stress.
Wow.
So that's exactly, I tell them that these regulations are actually not obligations, these are blessings on you.
Wow. Do you know?
Because you put your humble contribution towards betterment of society. I mean, the government has to run and they need money.
Absolutely. I think you did a great analogy, and we're something that.
Another thing, the last thing I want to
please
add here is, I mean, I would say I practice a religion, and I consider this is our religious obligation to pay right amount of taxes. It brings blessings to the business.
It's just like charity. It's a very, very important aspect. Not saying HMRC are charity, nothing but that, right? But if they don't exist, and I have that conversation with HMRC, we wouldn't have a country because the infrastructure is supported. So there is a balance, paying the right amount of tax. So
thank you,
Ash. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Gotta love it. So many perspectives.
Thank you.
Love it. Hi everyone. It's been a great seminar, spring seminar at Certax. We're outside the venue. You can see the Chesterfield football stadium behind us. I've got Ishtiaq, and we're just going to sum up all this stuff. Ishtiaq, what a seminar, right?
Yeah, great day today. We learned a lot about different changes coming into the law, different changes into the technology, the difference between automation and AI. And I think day was full of information.
I think it's been a huge value to the Certax franchise, Certax accountants. We're showing all the audience the amount of stuff you have to do to stay ahead of the game. What was the thing that you got out of it? Because obviously you got to run your own practice as well as being a director of the franchise. What have you got out of this?
The best thing I got out of it is such a strong community, bringing all the knowledge together, sharing the knowledge. We had a dinner last night. We shared the thoughts, opened up the discussion about what the challenges with signing up the new clients, how to sustaining the new client base, how to look at the fee structure, how to give value to our clients, and the knowledge.
I think Ishtiaq has summarised that well, and hopefully the audience are watching this across the whole social media family. You're enjoying this content. We're trying to give you it from an entrepreneur perspective, because we happen to be entrepreneurs that happen to wear one suit, which is an accountant tax advisor suit, to help the entrepreneur journey. And you can love the venue, because next time it'll be in winter, it may not be as sexy as it is right now. I hope you really liked it. Please do like and comment below, and hope you enjoyed the content.